Most traders think discipline means doing nothing. They think if they sit on their hands, avoid trades, and wait forever, they are becoming more professional. And yes, patience is important. Waiting is important. Avoiding bad trades is important. But there is one trading mistake that looks like discipline from the outside. It is hesitation. And hesitation is not the same as discipline. Discipline is when you wait for your setup, see your confirmation, follow your plan, and take the trade with controlled risk. Hesitation is when your setup appears, your rules are met, the risk is clear, but you still do not enter because you are afraid. That is the difference. One is patience, the other is fear. A disciplined trader waits because the setup is not ready. A hesitant trader waits because they do not trust themselves. This mistake is dangerous because it feels responsible. You tell yourself, I am just being careful. I do not want to rush. I am waiting for more confirmation. I will enter on the next candle. But deep down, you already know the truth. The setup was there. The plan was clear. The risk was acceptable. But fear stopped you. Then the market moves exactly how you expected. Now you feel regret. You miss the trade. You start blaming yourself. You say, I knew it. I should have entered. I always miss the best moves. And that regret creates the next problem. Now, instead of waiting for another clean setup, you start chasing. You enter late. You enter emotionally. You take a worse price. You increase the risk because you feel like you missed money. And suddenly, the mistake that started as hesitation turns into a bad trade. This is why hesitation can be just as dangerous as overtrading. Overtrading makes you take too many trades. Hesitation makes you miss the right trades, then chase the wrong ones. Both come from emotion. Most beginners only talk about the danger of entering too early, but nobody talks enough about the danger of never entering when the setup is actually valid. Because if you never execute your plan, you cannot build skill. You cannot build confidence. You cannot collect real data. You cannot know if your strategy works. You are just watching the market prove your ideas without you. And that creates a painful cycle. You analyze well. You predict well. You mark good levels, but you do not execute. Then after missing the move, you feel frustrated. Then you take a lower quality trade. Then you lose. Then your confidence gets worse. Then next time, you hesitate even more. This cycle can keep a trader stuck for months. The problem is not always knowledge. Sometimes the problem is fear of being wrong. They are afraid of the feeling that comes after a loss. They are afraid of seeing red. They are afraid of making a mistake. They are afraid of proving themselves wrong. So they keep waiting. More confirmation, more candles, more signals, more reasons. But in trading, there is no perfect certainty. If you wait until everything feels safe, the trade is usually already gone. A good trade does not mean a guaranteed trade. It means the setup matches your rules and the risk is controlled. That is all. You do not need to feel 100% confident. You need a clear plan. You need defined risk. You need the discipline to follow your rules. The goal is not to avoid every loss. The goal is to take valid trades and manage the risk properly. Because losses are part of trading. A losing trade does not mean you failed. Breaking your rules means you failed. Missing every valid setup because of fear is also a problem. But if your plan says enter and your risk is controlled, then you must execute. That is real discipline. Real discipline is not only the ability to avoid bad trades, it is also the ability to take good trades when they appear. This is where many traders misunderstand patience. Patience before the setup is discipline. Fear after the setup is hesitation. You need to know which one you are doing. So how do you fix this? First, write your entry rules clearly. Not in your head. Write them down. What must happen before you enter? What confirms the setup? Where is the stop loss? Where is the target? How much are you risking? If your rules are unclear, hesitation becomes easy. Second, use a checklist. Before entering, ask, is this setup part of my plan? Is the risk controlled? Is the stop loss clear? Is the market condition correct? Am I afraid because the setup is bad or because I don't want to lose? Sometimes fear gives useful information. Maybe the trade is not clean. Maybe the risk is too big. Maybe the setup is weak. But sometimes fear is just fear. And you need to recognize the difference. Third, lower your risk. If you hesitate too much, your position size may be too big. A trade becomes easier to execute when the loss is acceptable. If one loss feels painful, you are risking too much.
Risk small enough that you can follow the plan without panic.
Fourth, track missed trades. Most traders only journal the trades they take. But you should also journal the good setups you missed. Write down why you did not enter. Was the setup unclear? Was the risk bad? Or were you simply afraid? After a few weeks, you will see the pattern. Maybe you are not being patient. Maybe you are avoiding execution. And once you see the pattern, you can fix it. Trading is not about clicking every time the market moves.